Let me take you back, way back, to the exact second the war began, because wars don't start with gunfire. They start with a phone call. 6:43 a.m. The sky over Willow Creek Valley still bruised. Purple from night. My boots already caked in 3 generations of Golden Acres soil, the kind of dirt that holds the memory of every boot that ever pressed into it, and my phone vibrates against my rural is a Pinterest board. I'm Caleb Thorne, 3rd-generation keeper of Golden Acres Farm, 40 acres of certified organic Eden that's been feeding Lancaster County since my great-granddad. Elias Thorne came home from Okinawa in '45, traded his M1 Garand for a pitchfork, and turned a bankrupt dairy into the gold standard of vegetable farming, and now some transplant named MS. Evelyn Hargrove has decided my legacy is her personal eyesore. She moved in 6 months ago, rolled up in a Range Rover, so white it hurt to look at, stepped out in heels that sank like daggers into the gravel, and surveyed my operation like I was running a landfill, not the farm that supplies 60 restaurants, 2 school districts, and half the farmers' markets from Harrisburg to Philly. But the laugh died when the water authority showed up, Evelyn claiming my 1955 irrigation system, maintained like a Swiss watch for 70 years, was flooding her property with unsanitary. And he walked away shaking his head. "Mr. Thorne, I've never seen an operation this clean. Your runoff's purer than my tap water." But the meter was already running, $2,000 in legal fees. Money that was supposed to buy Lila a new laptop or fix the baler before corn harvest, and Evelyn already posting in his Save Our Serenity, my 1962 John Deere labeled Industrial Menace. My farm stand a biohazard, and I feel the fracture. Old neighbors who've bought my tomatoes since Nixon's standing firm, new transplants whispering. Maybe she's got a point, maybe the smell is too. She's watching us. Every Tuesday, every Friday, market days, she's timing the truck. So we fight fire with fire, mount trail cams along the fence, the kind hunters use for deer, and within a week, building a dossier on a 16-year-old girl and her father just trying to make a living. When Peterson sees the footage, his face goes grim. That's not neighborly. That's systematic harassment of a legitimate business. And I realize this isn't about noise or water. This is about breaking a man until he sells. 3 weeks later, she goes for the jugular, water rights, state official a mess. Rivera measuring my intake pipe while Evelyn vibrates with glee, alleging I'm draining her well faster than a vampire at a blood bank. But down in the basement, cedar and mothballs thick as memory. I crack open Elias's 1945 filing cabinet, hand-drawn surveys and fountain pen ink, while logs from before Truman, water rights older than television. Rivera photographs every page like she's handling the Magna Carta. Prior appropriation, Mr. Thorne, this would survive a Supreme Court challenge, and Evelyn's tears come out on cue. I'm just a defenseless woman trying to build a peaceful life. But Rivera smells the manipulation like bad cologne. Need data, ma'am, not drama. And when she leaves, I dig deeper. Property records, Evelyn's purchase funded by Horizon Land Holdings LLC. And buried in Elias's papers, a 1989 geological survey, natural gas, rare earths, $18 million under my feet in today's dollars. And the pieces slammed together like a rifle bolt. She's not crazy. She's hired. A professional predator paid to make farming hell until I sell cheap to Marcellus Gas and Energy, the fracking giant pulling her strings. Labor Day weekend, she attacks Lila. Anonymous call to Willow Creek High. Unsafe home environment, chemical exposure, heavy machinery, and my blood turns to liquid nitrogen. Principal Mr. Callahan sounds like he's swallowing broken glass. "Caleb, I've known your family since Lila was in diapers, but protocol. And Lila, God love her, doesn't cry. She builds, notebook thick with timestamps, photos from her phone. Audio clips from our property line. Evelyn's Facebook posts predating the call by days. Manufacturing outrage like a factory. How do we protect our children from industrial farming dangers?" 17 comments from transplants who moved here for the views but can't handle the reality. And I realize this isn't about my farm anymore. This is about breaking a father's will to keep his daughter's future. Zoning board petition drops next. Reclassify Golden Acres residential. Hearing smack in the middle of harvest week, when every hour lost means thousands in perishable crops. Flipped in 5 years across 3 states. Same playbook every time. Hire a concerned neighbor, harass until despair, buy cheap, extract billions, and I call my attorney Jack Brennan at midnight. Voice shaking with caffeine and victory. Jack, hypothetically, if a fracking giant used stalking, sabotage, and fraud to steal mineral rights, silence. Then, federal RICO. Caleb, you've got a monster case. Please tell me you've got evidence. Thursday, 2:47 a.m. My irrigation pump screams like a dying animal, bolts loosened with surgical precision, $9,000 in damage. Crop losses mounting by the hour, but the cameras catch Evelyn in neon pink jogging gear, fumbling with a crescent wrench like she learned from a TikTok tutorial, and by noon the valley rallies. Martha Jenkins rolls in with a spare pump off her late husband's rig. The Barlow brothers, Jeb and Luke, built like linebackers and twice as stubborn, show up with an entire extended family. And when Evelyn calls my insurance claiming I staged the damage for a payout, investigator Ms. Reynolds laughs so hard she snorts. Filing false reports with an insurer is a federal felony, ma'am. We'll be in touch. And the noose tightens like a hangman's knot. Friday dawn, 6 a.m., emergency inspection, 3 county SUVs screaming in with sirens that wake the dead. Immediate chemical threat. From a federal task force briefing, 12-minute sweep, cleanest operation in the county. This complaint is felony abuse of government resources, and the media swarm expecting environmental. Armageddon get the scoop of the decade. I stand in the sunrise, irrigation humming like a choir. You've been had, folks. Follow me to the courthouse in 90 minutes for the real show. Bring popcorn. The Lancaster County Courthouse looks like Judgment Day parked in a pickup lot. Farmers shoulder to shoulder, news vans circling like vultures on a carcass, and inside. The hearing room is packed beyond fire code. Evelyn preens at the front table in a power suit that costs more than my annual seed bill, flanked by 2 attorneys slick as oil spills, Mr. Bradford and Ms. Klein, presenting doctored charts, blown-up photos of my John Deere labeled industrial hazard, fabricated water usage graphs, noise readings taken during a thunderstorm. Kept hidden for 6 long months. Pennsylvania State Police Agricultural Crimes Task Force, gold shield catching the fluorescent lights like a signal flare. Ms. Hargrove, you've been building a federal case against yourself for half a year, and I've got every frame, every dollar, every lie in high definition. The room explodes, gasps, camera shutters popping like gunfire. Evelyn's face drains to the color of spoiled milk. You're a cop. 22 years on the force, 15 specializing in AG crime. And her every complaint, every act of sabotage, every payment from conspiracy to commit fraud, criminal harassment, destruction of property, filing false reports, and federal racketeering. Click, click, the sound of a coffin closing, and FBI agent Sarah Torres enters with a warrant stack thick enough to choke a horse. 17 executives, 7 states, $52 million in criminal fines, and enough prison sentences to staff a medium security wing. Thunder slams the gavel so hard the handle cracks. Petition 2024-157 is not only denied, it is declared fraudulent on its face. Ms. Hargrove, welcome to federal consequences. Court is adjourned. Are you alleging a corporate conspiracy to steal rural America? And I look straight into the cameras, Lila at my side, braids swinging like a battle standard. I'm alleging exactly what the evidence proves, and that evidence is now in the hands of the United States Attorney. Every family targeted by this scheme will have their day in court, and their land back in their names. 6 months later, funds seeded with our settlement share, sending 26 rural kids to college, including Martha Jenkins's youngest, both Barlow daughters, and Sheriff Morrison's nephew, who wants to be an AG. A $10 million legal defense fund for targeted farmers. 6 states have already copied the model, and the Agricultural Crime Quarterly features our case on the cover. How one undercover detective. Her Range Rover auctioned for victim restitution. License plate now bolted to Martha's new delivery van as a trophy. Marcellus Gas and Energy executives trade boardrooms for orange jumpsuits. But now it carries the weight of victory, of a community unbreakable, of a daughter who'll fight smarter than her old man ever could, for generations in the soil, and God willing, for more. But here's the part that keeps me up when the coyotes howl across the back 40. Was justice worth the war? Did we save rural America? Or just prove the system only works when you've got a badge? A basement full of paranoid paperwork, and a daughter who can outsmart a corporate hit squad before she's old enough to vote? Was Evelyn a monster, or a desperate divorcee paid to be the villain in a machine that chews up families for profit? And what about the next farmer who doesn't have a cop's pension, a great-granddad's filing cabinet, or a kid with a notebook and a grudge? Is the law? Phone, because somewhere out there another farmer's staring at a bogus citation, thinking he's alone. Tell him he's not. Tell him to document every receipt, every text, every glare across the fence line. Tell him to stand in the mud that remembers, because that mud has seen empires rise and fall, and it's still here, still growing tomatoes, still growing hope. Subscribe if this fired you up. Ring the bell, share it with the farmer who needs to hear he's not crazy. Next week, the HOA president, the disabled vet, and the foreclosure that backfired into a federal lawsuit. Keep the faith.